For the better part of a century, really, the United States has been the world's leading power, no question about it. But in a world that's changing faster than ever, how does it plan to stay on top? Well, today, we're going to break down the blueprint, a four-part strategy that's all about securing America's global leadership for the future. Think about it. For most of our lives, the world has had one single, undisputed leader. But things are shifting, and they're shifting fast. So the big question we're really digging into here is this: is that whole era of singular American dominance actually coming to an end? Okay, so before we can even get into the plan for the future, we need to get a clear picture of the present. Let's just take a quick snapshot of American power and see where things stand right now. It pretty much all starts with the economy. The United States still has the #1 spot, the world's largest. And look, that's not just a number on a chart. It translates directly into huge influence over global trade, international finance, and really the direction of all new technology. And then, of course, you've got the military. The US has by far the most advanced and powerful military on the planet. This isn't just for defense. That power is projected all over the world through key alliances like NATO, which really cements its role in global security. But American power isn't just about money and military hardware. It's also cultural. It's intellectual. I mean, think about American movies, software, universities, and research. This is a kind of soft power that reaches almost every corner of the globe. But that established power, it's facing a whole new set of very real, very complex challenges. You could say some cracks are starting to appear in the foundation, and this is where the story gets really interesting. So here's the dynamic at the heart of it all. On one side, you have the established dominance of the US. But on the other, you've got these rising challengers, especially China, who are closing the gap with incredible economic growth and huge investments in their own tech and military. Alliances are shifting, the whole map is being redrawn right before our eyes. And it's not just about one country either. The pressure is coming from all sides. You've got the rise of other powers, you've got this intense competition in cyberspace and AI, alliances are shifting in Europe and Asia, and maybe most importantly, you have these deep political and social divisions back home, which can seriously weaken a country's power on the world stage. So, faced with all these challenges, what's the plan? What's the response? Well, that brings us to the real core of this explainer, the official four-part American blueprint designed to navigate this totally new era. This whole blueprint is built on four essential pillars. 1. Reinforce economic strength. 2. Modernize the military and cyber power. 3. Lead in global politics. And 4, and this is a big one, ensure stability at home. Let's see how each one is supposed to work. All right, first up, the economic engine. The logic here is pretty simple. Global power really starts with economic power. So the strategy is all about making huge investments in next-gen tech, things like quantum computing and biotech. And this isn't just to create jobs, it's to make sure the US is the one writing the rules for the 21st century economy, not its competitors. It's all about being self-reliant for the really important stuff. Second, you've got hard power. But the focus here isn't just on having the biggest military, it's about having the smartest. That means pouring money into advanced defense systems that can work everywhere, from space to AI to hypersonic weapons. And it also means dominating in cybersecurity. That's a digital battlefield where entire economies are at risk, and where, honestly, future conflicts could be won or lost before a single shot is ever fired. But hey, you can't just rely on money and muscle, right? The third pillar is all about leadership through diplomacy. The strategy sees alliances as a massive force multiplier. So it's about shoring up traditional partnerships like NATO while also building new, more flexible groups in places like the Indo-Pacific. It's also about taking the lead on huge global challenges that no one country can solve alone, like climate change or pandemics. Because let's face it, being the indispensable partner is a huge source of power. And that brings us to the fourth, and you could argue the most foundational pillar of all. It's about looking inward, domestic stability. The blueprint basically admits that global strength begins at home. I mean, deep political division isn't just a social problem. It leads to gridlock, which can stop all those big, long-term strategic investments we just talked about. So this pillar says that to be strong abroad, the US has to be strong, unified, and confident in its own democracy at home. So, we've looked at the assets, we've looked at the challenges, we've looked at the plan. So what's the final equation? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental balance sheet of American power. When you put it all together, this is what you get. In the assets column, you've got these immense strengths, the world's biggest economy and military, powerful alliances, and a real lead in innovation. But on the other side, in the liabilities column, you've got some serious challenges: rising competition, shifting partnerships, fierce tech rivalry, and those deep divisions at home. So, in the end, success isn't guaranteed by any one thing. It's this really complex mix of managing the problems at home, staying ahead in the tech race, and playing the game of international politics skillfully. If any one of those parts fails, the whole thing could be at risk. Which leaves us with the final massive question. The blueprint is there, the strategy is laid out, but in a world that is changing in some really fundamental ways, with new powers on the rise and new rules being written, is this plan actually enough to secure another American century? That right there is the question for our time.